Paul Skeens, #1 overall pick 2023. Like I said, looks like a baseball superhero, the most hyped young pitcher we've seen since probably Steven Strasburg.
Yeah.
Does it make you long for more out of A, Spencer Torkelson, and B, I'll even throw in Casey Mize?
Yeah, well, absolutely. And with Casey Mize, at least, we are starting to see signs that he's going to be able to recover from that injury that he had. He's had some solid outings so far this year, but with Tork, I mean, you gotta want more from him at this point. It's been around 3 seasons now. His rookie stats and his stats currently ain't looking much different. No. It hasn't been a lot of growth, man. And even just to yesterday, 0 for 8 in 2 games. 0 for 8, man. It's not good. And I understand if you're a power hitter, you know, you might strike out a lot, but we aren't even seeing the bombs. We finally got to see a couple Torque bombs, you know, over the last couple weeks, but once again, he's gone dead, man. And I think he was like 3 for 31, and I don't know how many plate appearances, I can't remember, but those numbers just aren't good, man. And so far this year, we can't keep having these type of slow starts when you're the focal point of this offense. So I don't know what to do with him at this point. They seem determined not to send him down. What do you do with Torque at this point?
Well, Honolulu BS, send Torque down. And I'll tell you what, I'll go to Spencer Raxter first, but at this point, I can't even argue, and I wouldn't even hate it. Spencer Raxter, I know maybe more for his off-the-field escapades, but also for his on. He's absolutely electric to watch. I mean, Paul Skeens is must-see TV, and he's 100% lived up to the hype so far. I know it's only been 4 starts, but he 100% looks the part.
Yeah, it's disgusting. You look at it, and it's like when people say, like, effortless gas, like, he's throwing 100, 102 miles an hour, and it doesn't even look like he's trying that hard. Yeah. It's nasty, the stuff he's doing. He is a big horse on that mound, and the way he has a nasty slider, his split he was working the other day, too. Like, the guy has a disgusting array of pitches, and the level of velocity between his slide piece and his fastball is just so hard for hitters to focus on one of them. Because, like, he throws you an 85-mile-per-hour fastball, and then he's got the 85-mile-per-hour splitter, and then he's got the 103-mile-per-hour fastball. It's impossible to catch up with. But looking at Torkelson, like, I would not be mad if they sent him down. I think it's much needed at this point. He's hitting like 130 in his past 10 games. Like,
not good.
The guy needs to go down. He needs to clear his head. He needs to get the pressure off of him, get his swing back, figure out how to make contact again, and then bring him back up. Like, it happens to every MLB player. Like, I don't know why they're protecting him or why they're so scared to hurt his ego. I think leaving him here to die in at-bats is going to hurt his ego more than sending him down to the minors and letting him rake for a couple weeks.
No, seriously, because even when you look back at, okay, he had a slow start last year, there were signs that pointed to, okay, he's going to turn it around. He was making better contact with the ball. This season, it's a total regression, man. He's not even going out there putting solid contact out there. So what do you do? They should have actually been sent him down. I don't know why they continue to they won't even bench him.
Well, yeah, and with Spencer Torkelson, and he's been the most notable, but I'll even include Casey Mize in this because he hasn't had the season that we've all hoped for, although it hasn't been as egregious as, say, Spencer Torkelson. Yeah. I'm looking at the Tigers, and they've had trouble throughout their past, as we know, of developing homegrown players. But Kerry Carpenter, he's homegrown. He's on the IL right now, but that looks to be a success. And you have a Riley Green, homegrown, struggling a bit right now, but I think overall a success. It's been a success. I have confidence in him. And Tarek Skubal, not even really a high-round pick, but he's developed into a major success. Traded for Reese Olson. He wasn't homegrown, but still. Where would this team be if their 1-1s were playing to the level that we thought that they were capable of? If Spencer Torkelson was even giving you numbers or slash lines similar to last year, where you had an OPS that started with a 7 and an on-base percentage that started with a 3. That's not even a high bar. But even if he just had that, this team could be a couple of games over 500. And Casey Mize, last time he was on a mound for a full year, he had an ERA of 3.71. This year, it's 4.71. I wonder what this team would be if the 1-1s could show up and live up to the hype. I don't know if it's going to happen, but your thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, I mean, with Casey Mize it's hard to come in as a pitching phenom and you face that MLB talent. It's hard to hit the ground running. So that's what makes Paul Skeens look so amazing, that he's doing this at this level this quickly. But with Casey Mize, you can point to the injury. This year, I didn't need him to come out and try to be an ace or, I just want him to go out and have solid outings, which he has done. Has he been perfect? No, but he has to get used to seeing that MLB pitching every day. He was gone for a long time, but definitely if we got more out of Torque, this offense will look completely different, man. And I've said it before, you don't need everybody in your hitting lineup to hit. If you could get 4 to 5 guys to hit consistently in this lineup, this offense takes on a whole new level, man. So I don't know, man.
And if they could get Torque, if he could ever regain any of the form that he had during his hot streak last year, I believe this is a lineup that's capable of having 4 or 5 guys that can hit.
Absolutely.
I don't believe it's just full of black holes. I believe in Mark Canha. I believe in Riley Green.
Yeah.
We've seen great things out of Winfield Perez.
Yes.
Kerry Carpenter, we hope that he can come back. Even if you bring up Justin Henry Malloy and Jace Young, I'm really, really high on those guys as prospects. And even if it were up to me, and not that this is a big deal or anything like that, I would make Carson Kelly catcher 1 and Jake Rogers be the guy who just is like the personal catcher of a couple of guys in the starting lineup. But the thing, too, about these number 1 overall picks, I've been looking at kind of the past history of them, and I know it has no bearing on the Tigers right now, but in MLB baseball, where the vast majority of them have to go to the minors first, I mean, let's look at some hitters. For every Bryce Harper, for every Joe Mauer, for every Carlos Correa, there's a Mickey Moniak. You ever heard of Mickey Moniak?
Hell no.
There's a Tim Beckham. You ever heard of Tim Beckham?
I've heard of David Beckham.
Hey, but Tim is his long-lost brother who was drafted by the Rays but didn't do a damn thing.
Damn.
Even a guy like Delman Young. We know him.
Hey, shout out Delman.
Young was solid.
Hey, we know him for his postseason heroics in Detroit, which he did have, by the way. Shout out to Delman Young. But he was not the player that he was projected to be. He was one of the most hyped prospects ever. And I kind of look at him somewhat similarly to Spencer Torkelson, although Delman Young's actually better than Spencer Torkelson. Delman Young's better than Spencer Torkelson right now.
I would definitely take a Delman Young right now.
100%. We all would. But my point is, Spencer Torkelson, I don't know if he's going to be a bust that toils in AAA, but he's certainly not what he lived up to. And when it comes to pitchers, I mean, there have been so many, like listen to these number 1 overall picks, and it'll make you feel a little less bad about Casey Mize. Mark Appel, you ever heard of him?
Nope.
Brian Bullington.
Nope.
Luke Hochevar, you might have heard of him because he kind of pitched. He pitched with the Royals. Yeah. He sort of toiled as a starter. Found a little bit of success with the bullpen, but still. Brady Aiken.
No.
Wasn't he the guy that got drafted 1 overall, and there was like some issue with his arm or something, and he got drafted in another one? But my point is that there's a lot of guys. For every David Price, for every Steven Strasburg, for every Garrett Cole, there's a Brian Bullington. You just never know with
the luck of the draw.
With these number 1 overall picks. But we've seen that both of them can play Major League Baseball. We've seen that both of them can have a whole season worth of what I consider success. I consider Casey Mize's 2021 a success. Yeah. I consider Torque 31 home runs, 94 RBIs. Those are good power numbers.
Yeah, it's not easy to do.
The slash lines weren't great, but those are good power numbers. Do you believe that these guys, and I know it's hard to project into the future, are going to be on this team when they're ready to win?
That's a good question. With Casey Mize, I can definitely see him carve out a niche for this team. Maybe he won't be the ace that we all thought he would be, but if you're coming out giving out solid 6-7 innings every time you go out there, we'll take it. But as far as Torque, I don't know, man, because they invested a lot into him, and you drafted him under the assumption that it wouldn't take that long for him to develop.
Yeah.
He showed signs at the college level that he was going to be able to come in and be a good hitter right away.
Broke Barry Bonds' record.
Yeah, exactly. So, and when you see what he's done through his time with the Tigers, it's just, I don't know. I don't want to say he's a bust just yet. I do at least want to give him to the end of this year to kind of prove where he stands with this team. But going forward, it doesn't seem like he may be in the plans, especially if he continues to struggle and you don't really do anything about it.
If you want my view on Spencer Torkelson, I'll give him the rest of the year.
Yeah, got to. I feel like you have to.
I'll give him the rest of the year with the caveat that if they decide to send him down, I wouldn't necessarily be mad. I would probably say let him hit his way out of it because I don't think the Tigers are going anywhere anyway. Yeah. However,
you can't just let him flounder on the MLB roster.
That's the thing. I was just about to say, if we look back at this team and say he's not going to be the only reason, but what if they finish the season 4 games out of a wild card spot?
Ooh.
And you look at Spencer Torkelson and he hasn't really improved throughout the year. Yeah. You look at even Javi Baez and he's still doing his dumbass Javi Baez things. we're going to look at this season as a waste. And as much as it is an evaluation year in some ways, and I don't want to give up on Torque just yet, he sucks right now.
Yeah.
He's awful.
And
He's terrible.
And it's not like he hasn't had chances to prove it. Whenever he hits with runners on base, it never seems to go right. And that's somebody that you absolutely need him to hit with runners on base. That's the whole point of having this guy as your number 3 hitter in your lineup.
Yes. I mean, he's had almost 1,200 at-bats in his MLB career. Almost 1,200.
It's a good sample size.
On-base percentage of 298, OPS of 687.
Oof.
Average of 219. That's awful. This season, on-base percentage of 276, OPS of 619. The only good thing he has done in his entire MLB career, the only thing you can look at as objectively positive, were the home run and RBI numbers from last year.
Yeah.
I would have even liked a higher on base and a higher OPS, but I also expected him to be at absolute worst the same as he was in terms of slash line wise, but it just hasn't worked out that way. And Spencer Torkelson is he's probably one of the most disappointing players in all of baseball, honestly. Certainly somebody that we expected more of, and you can objectively say that he's probably, his poor play and the fact that he leads the team in at-bats has probably directly cost the Tigers a few wins.
Yeah.
If you just had an average MLB first baseman.